Hey guys, it's me and I this is gonna be kind of a hard video to make, but I know it's one which will resonate with a lot of young people, especially young men. And that's that, like, honestly guys, I'm hopeless. I have no hope. I um I I really don't know where my life is going. Um, thankfully, I'm not like a lot of young men right now who are like increasingly not getting a higher education and stuff like that and choosing to forego that for either like traditionally low wage jobs or going directly into a trade, which is fine, right? Like that's cool and stuff like that, but there's also a contingent um of men that have lost hope, that are like what we call neets, not in education, employment or training. And that's really what worries me about hopelessness. And I can say that, like, I'm this is gonna be unpopular, but I don't necessarily think hopelessness is a bad thing. It depends how you react to the feeling of hopelessness. If you react with wanting to become a NEET, um, I don't think that's productive, right? I still think that you should try to live, do the best you can, even if certain things, like, that's one of the reasons why I lost hope, because I see the current world situation with, like, number one, biggest one, climate change. I know I'm going to trigger a lot of people, but the climate catastrophes are coming. It's not going to be immediate like a lot of the alarmists 20, 40 years ago said. It's obviously going to be gradual, right? But I mean, they're coming. We're going to have a lot of um places which were formerly inhabitable be not so anymore because of rising surface temperatures being too much for humans to handle, and number two, rising sea levels where formerly grounded pieces of land are now going to be swallowed up by the water. And that's going to affect people of color and those of us who came from poorer communities the most, bruh. We're gonna pay the most. Even though well, I mean, I live in the United States, so I currently can't say that I use less. I use just as much as any of the other developed countries because I live in one, but you know what I mean. My fellow, people from third world countries, um that don't use as much energy. But if we don't transition to some form of renewable and get our economies off oil, that's gonna be big trouble. And then number two is that, like, straight up guys, the American dream, I know every generation of young people since the 1960s or 70s has said this, but I, especially with the recent round of inflation, I know there was inflation in the 1970s, but come on, bro. It's not like the one we have now, not even remotely close. Um it like it's or I guess you it would be better to call it stagflation, just like in the 1970s, because bro, wages are barely rising, and but prices are getting higher and higher and higher, and especially property. There's just not enough housing for everyone, bro. Like, even if you're college educated, like I'm gonna eventually be completing my masters and stuff like that, bro. It depends on where you live, but most likely you're still not gonna be able to afford even a down payment on a house, dog. It's that. I'm not saying it can't be done. My mom did it, um, like with no college degree and stuff like. But it's not. It's not like it was back in the day. Is what I'm talking about. That's very much not the average experience, and I wouldn't want anyone to do what my mom did, even though I respect it and I am grateful for it. I don't want people working 120 hours a week, having to delegate a lot of responsibility for taking care of their kids to siblings and stuff. I don't want people to live that life that I did. That's the I feel like a lot of younger people don't articulate that side of it clearly enough. And so it just sort of comes off as ungrateful, but we're thinking of those situations, right? We don't want younger people to go through what we, since essentially 2007 2008, has been a series of non-stop crises. And honestly, guys, you may think I'm making too much of a big deal about property ownership, but we all know, guys, that that's the way to generational wealth. We know it because of everything, of the environment and the security that surrounds it, both financially and environmentally, right? Because chances are, if you own a home, it's gonna be in a good neighborhood, safe neighborhood, and so yeah, and moving on, also, bros, let's face it, we live in a second Gilded Age. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like we live under a system of laissez-faire capitalism, like at the tail end of the 19th century. I'm not gonna pretend that we have the types of steel monopolies and oil monopolies that we once had, even though you could, I think, make the argument that they've maybe fall into duopolies or triopolies, if that's even a word. It's not like that. Obviously, we have the FTC, the FCC, and stuff like that, but still, guys, wealth inequality generally is just sky high, and a lot of that is due to neoliberal policies from the 80s and 90s, which both Reagan and Clinton, by the way, heavily supported. Bush actually kind of didn't like Reaganomics, that's one of the, alongside the Americans with Disabilities Act, that's one of the most based Bush Senior moments. But yeah, dude, but still, let's face it, guys, our most important types of commodity, or not commodities, just the things that rule our lives, the technology that rules our lives, and our telecommunications sort of our go-tos for those things are ruled by just a few large conglomerates. Our media, that's facts, bro. Even if you're the most hardcore, like, free market, whatever, like you can't deny, bro. We have Disney, ABC, Fox, right? We have Paramount, aka Viacom, which, you know, owns a whole bunch of stuff. We have Warner, Discovery, AT&T, bro. Again, it's not that we live in, like, this weird, yeah, it's after the mixed market sort of changes of the post-war economies, but also at the same time, at least in the US and other countries actually, because you even have stuff like Microsoft, Activision, King, Blizzard, which is, bro, come on now. Even the European regulatory bodies approve that. And so, yeah, you just have all of the wealth, kind of, basically, for the thing that is now making the world go round in the hands of such few companies that's like actually dangerous, and that makes me not have hope either. Like, I don't know how anyone can say that and or I'm sorry, not say that, see that and be like, "Oh yeah, everything's going to be fine, bro." How? And also just like, personally, as a short disabled man, any hope of anyone desiring me. I know a lot of people say that it'll happen, whatever, right? But come on now, we have to face reality. We don't even live in an economy where I could possibly make up for all of my shortcomings with money, and I don't mean that in a like way to say that all girls are gold diggers or anything like that. I just mean that is what my situation requires because of my care and stuff like that, right? So that what would be considered, I would say, upper middle class for most people, for me, after all of my medical and care expenses, would be considered just like maybe lower middle class or middle class. For like, after you've subtracted all of that. So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeless. I have no hope left. I'm just gonna lie down and rot, basically. After at least trying to secure something for myself. Yeah. I know a lot of people feel similarly, and I mean, what can I say other than it's over? But there is a silver lining. And that's that, honestly, I'm more at peace than I've ever been. Yeah, I have moments of, like, where I get really melancholic or I get like very manic, but compared to before, not so much, because again, I just want peace. I'm not pursuing that many external pleasures except the ones that I need to live, like heating and cooling and food and stuff like that. And I'm at peace with, or at least on the way to peace with my situation. Alright, guys, bye.